Sex addiction, studies have shown, begin usually around the age of about 18 years old, and most people who battle with sex addiction typically don't get help for their addiction until they're around 37 years old. And millions of Americans battle with sex addiction, and over 1 billion people around the world. So this is an addiction that affects so many people, and most people who battle with sex addiction think about suicide. Over 70% of people who battle with sex addiction have thoughts of ending their life because of the desperation, the despair, the misery, and the hopelessness of it all. And around 15 to 17% of sex addicts attempt suicide because they feel so hopeless and there is no way out. And if you go on Google and you Google sex addiction and sex addiction recovery, there are millions and millions of bits of information about recovering from sex addiction. And yet, so many people are battling with sex addiction, and upwards of only 5% actually recover from their sex addiction, and that is astronomically low. And the question is why? With so much treatment and so many therapists and so much information about recovering from sex addiction, and yet so many battle with this hopeless addiction, and so many want to end their lives. So many people, and I'm included in this, have lost their careers, their families, their friends, their reputation, and in some cases even lost their freedom and wound up going to prison for inappropriate behavior around their sex addiction and their clouded judgment. Why so many? And I think one of the reasons that we're seeing is there's so much information, but there's very little transformation. And what you need if you're battling with sex addiction is a transformation from a life that is sex addicted to a life where you are a healthy, thriving individual leading a successful, prosperous life. And after all, isn't that what you want? Don't you want to get away from the misery and darkness of active sex addiction and live a life where you are free and social and confident and content with yourself and living with purpose and clarity? Isn't that what you want? So what you need is a transformation. There's a lot of information, but you need transformation. And one of the things that a lot of therapists do and a lot of treatment centers do, and I'm not belittling that, I'm not saying that won't work for you, but a lot of what they do is they take a look at your childhood and they take a look at the root causes. And that's good to know. That's great knowledge to know what occurred in my life that brought me to this place. But that in itself is not going to give you the solution. That in itself is not going to give you the transformation you need to get out of the life of addiction to a life of sobriety. What you need is a transformation. We can take a look at all the aspects of your life and see why you are here where you're at today. Or we can take a look at where you're at right now and make changes to your life. So what I want to do is I just want to keep this simple. And I'm a firm believer that simplicity is key. And I think sometimes there's so much information out there, and when you get into treatment or therapy, it's just so much that we lose the simplicity of it. And I'm a firm believer that we keep it simple. So rather than delve into your childhood and your early life trauma that brought you here to a sex-addicted adult, I'd rather take a look at 3 very basic elements that played a role that brought you here and how easy it can be to transform your life away from where you are now to a life where you are free and no longer actively sex addicted. So number 1, you have discovered behaviors somewhere along the line that gave you a rush of excitement. Those behaviors release chemicals out of the brain and simply got you high. Dopamine and various different opiates that the brain releases into the body gets you excited. It's like thrill seeking. You actually can also get nervous and shake a little bit before you act out sexually. You might feel the adrenaline release in the body where your body starts shaking a little bit. You either feel excited or you feel nervous, but you have that shaking feeling. That's the adrenaline that your brain's releasing into the body. And with that come various different chemicals and opiates released from the brain. Dopamine, of course, is one of them. And these chemicals get you high. So somewhere along the line, you discovered behaviors that get you high, that give you that excitement and that thrill. And on some level, you developed a pattern of living a way that gets you that fix. And you discovered certain behaviors that do that. And now you developed a pattern of continuously doing that throughout the course of your life. Another aspect of those behaviors is you discovered those behaviors or certain sexual behaviors made you feel good, made you feel valued, wanted, loved, nurtured, needed. Perhaps you didn't feel those things in your childhood, or you don't feel those things today. You feel inferior and you self-loathe. But these behaviors, acting out sexually, makes you feel those various different things that you don't feel when you're not acting out. Loved, nurtured, wanted, desired, needed. We all need those things. We all need to feel loved and whole and connected. But if you don't, you discovered certain behaviors that do make you feel that way. These two payoffs, those are payoffs. Getting the high, the drug release out of the brain and getting that excitement, that thrill, and a behavior that makes you feel needed, wanted, loved, and nurtured. Well, those are two payoffs. And now you developed a neurological behavior pattern to do those behaviors for those two payoffs. The brain wires have connected in such a way that for you to feel good, for you to feel high and excited and thrilled and needed and wanted, you developed a pattern to act out on those sexually addictive behaviors. And now, when you act out, you suddenly feel those qualities that, in essence, deep down within yourself, you lack. And what we have to do is we have to start feeling loved, needed, wanted, valued, excited about life without the dopamine release, without the opiates being released, and without doing those behaviors to feel those qualities that we need to feel anyway, but we have to do them in a healthy way. You haven't learned, you haven't practiced how to feel that way healthy. You've discovered a way to feel that way through unhealthy habits and behaviors, and we need to break it. That's what we need to do. So there are various different solutions that you can do to break free from your sex addiction. One, of course, you can go to therapy. You can go to a sex therapist, and they can analyze your life and break down all the whys and look at your childhood and take a look at all your behaviors and if there's any mental disorders and what's going on with you that may be leading you down the road of living a life actively addicted to sex. You can go to a treatment center. Inpatient, outpatient treatment centers. Inpatients are extremely expensive, in the tens and tens of thousands of dollars a month. And you can do outpatient treatment therapy where you get some therapy and you get some treatment, but you're out, you're at home, and you're with your friends, and you're somewhat living life relatively normal. Or you can do it on your own, where you do your own research and you read your own books, and you've probably been doing this already for the last 5, 10, 15 years. You've been doing your own research and trying to understand what is sex addiction. You can do it on your own as well. So you have therapy, you have treatment centers, you can do them on your own. Or, and this is my belief, and this is how I believe you can break free from sex addiction, you can change the structure of your thinking through self-nurturing techniques. So by self-nurturing techniques, you can change the structure of your brain. I mean, in essence, that's what you need to do. You need to change how you're thinking. So it doesn't mean that any of the trauma you experienced earlier on in your life isn't relevant to certain areas of your life today. I do believe that there are things that can happen to us early in life that can hurt our soul or break our spirit or sadness on a deep level. And those may need to be looked at some point. But my belief is for you to break free and break the spell of your sex addiction, you need to change how you're thinking. You need to change what you're looking at. And you need to change your belief system. And there are techniques and strategies you can do to change how your mind is functioning. And that's what needs to be changed. Yes, therapy may be good to take a look at some of the trauma that you may have experienced in your life, but to break free from sex addiction, you need to change how you're thinking. You need to change what you're looking at. You need to change your internal dialogue. You need, in essence, all of that can be broken down to self-nurture. Yes, you need to self-nurture. You need to take care of yourself today in a healthy way. You're old enough now. You're no longer a victim. You're no longer a child. You are an adult now. And today, you take responsibility for utilizing strategies and techniques specifically to change how your mind is functioning, to change how you are thinking. So I do want to talk about 3 avenues you can take for that self-nurture to break sex addiction out of your life for good. One of them is the gateway to the subconscious mind. The first 20 minutes of wake up in the morning, your mind functions very, very rapidly. It cycles 10.5 times per second. Your brain absorbs the most information the first 20 minutes of wake up. Your brain is most influenced first 20 minutes of wake up, especially the subconscious mind. Almost 90% of what you do throughout the day is controlled by the subconscious mind. Most of what you do, most of what you think, and most of what you say, no one noticed by the conscious mind all day long. Do you ever drive somewhere and you have no idea how you got there? You don't remember the lights, the stop signs, and the turns. You just got there, like, I don't even remember the drive because you were on such autopilot. That's the subconscious mind. So most of what you do, you're not even thinking about. So you need to change the subconscious mind. First 20 minutes is when you read something encouraging, you do something that makes you feel good, take an ice cold shower. I know that'll wake you up, right? But take a cold shower in the morning, take in information that makes you feel good before you check your emails, before you go on your phone, before you do anything. First 20 minutes, do what makes you healthy. Something else that will deeply influence breaking free from your active sex addiction: expose your sex addiction. Shine a light on it. Find someone you trust and tell that person all about your sex addiction. Tell that person everything about your sex addiction. Why? Because darkness cannot exist in light, and sex addiction exists in darkness. Bring light upon it. Share it with someone. Get it out of you. It will lose its power, I promise, because it thrives on secrecy. Share your sex addiction with someone you trust. Get it all out. Turn the light switch on. Trust me, it'll start breaking your sex addiction. And third, change people, places, and things. Change the people you're hanging out with. Hang out only with people who have what you want. That's it. No negotiation. Only hang out with people who have what you want. People better, smarter, stronger, more fit spiritually and physically than you, and learn from them. Don't go to the same places. If you need a break from dance clubs or certain parties or certain people, change the places. Don't continue to hang out in the same places. You have the power to do that. And don't do the same things. If you have a habit of going on the computer 11 o'clock at night before bed and you watch pornography, shut that door to the office at 8 o'clock at night and you don't go in that room where the computer is until morning. Change a behavior. Change the things you're doing that lead to you acting out. Disrupt your daily pattern. Get up earlier. Don't go on the computer at night. Change your routine. Shock your system. Instead of going to the gym at 3 p.m., go to the gym at 8 a.m. Instead of waking up at 7 a.m., wake up at 6:30 a.m. If you eat at 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock, eat at 8:30 and 11 a.m. Change what you're doing. Change the things you're doing. Shock your system a little bit. All of these three ingredients will play a role in breaking your sex addiction. I'm a firm believer that if you change how your brain is thinking, and you change what you're looking at, you change where you're going, you change what you're thinking about. I'm a firm believer that you need to change your brain. You need to change what you're thinking about. You need to change the subconscious mind. I want to take you from where you are right now and take you off to a place where you are a healthy, thriving individual, living a life with purpose, on purpose. From right here to that life you're dreaming of. You want to take a look at your childhood trauma, and you want to take a look at all of that stuff in your life that's keeping you unsettled. By all means, go to therapy and take a look at it. But if you want to break that sex addiction and you want to get out of that pattern, just change your brain, change how you're thinking, and change your subconscious mind. You have the power to do it. You have the power to destroy a part of your life because of your addiction. You have that same power to rebuild and restructure that part of your life in sexual sobriety. If you like this video and you want to see more of them, and this resonated with you, please subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and hit the bell. I post a video every Tuesday, so you'll get a ding on your phone when I post another video on Tuesdays. And feel free to put a comment below if there's anything in this video that resonated with you, something that, hit home with you, and you want to talk a little bit more about it. I would love to hear your comments. I certainly will respond to every single comment. And if you have a video idea, an idea that you would like me to talk about in one of my videos on my channel, please put that in the comments below. I am so grateful that you were here today, and I look forward to seeing you real soon. So stick around. We'll see you soon.